Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. So today we are going to discuss about one new feature in 24D receivable application. The feature name is Receivables Transaction Review and Control. So this is one of the feature which gives a lot of flexibility or control to your receivable managers, where the business users are creating AR invoices from UI, or in other words user interface. So those manual entries can be reviewed by your receivable manager and then approve it, post into GL. So that is one of the good functionality to the your clients. So this functionality should works only for when you create invoices through manual only. It is not applicable for where we are going to importing invoices from legacy applications. So the key highlights are here. So when we are creating transaction, or when the transaction is under the pending approval state, the user would not able to make modifications or change any of the customer information. That is not possible. Why? Because the particular transaction is in a pending approval state. So for that, so there are a couple of setups are needed in order to implement this functionality. So the first thing is transaction source and transaction type needs to be created, and then we need to create approval rules also. Here the key consideration is it is not required to be configured BPM rules in BPM application. It is not relevant to your BPM application rules. It is completely within the AR application related approvals. So also it is very simplified to configure the rules based on the functionality. Let's get into application to see that how to create the configurations and also test case as well as. Notice here, this is the configuration, the first one, where we can go ahead and define the rules. So how should we define the rules? So already we define certain rules based on the requirement. If you see my desktop on now, there are two type of rules can be configured. One is rule-based approvals, role-based approvals. So in order to develop or implement these two rules, we need certain privileges also. That I will leaving into the your Oracle repository. You can go ahead and check that what are the privileges are needed. So here we are saying that user based. So the similarly where we can configure GL approvals or AP approvals, similarly also we can define the user level approvals over here. Select username who is going to approve it. Approval routing is user. Now we have given input as a user, then we need to populate the who is the user name that I'm giving here as a Christina Rian and FAS student 13 and Tracy Ellen. So and then we can provide the what level of amount tolerance are required or amounts can be approved. Here transaction amount. If less than 2000 rupees or $2000, it can be auto approved. Or if it is greater than 2000 and includes negative lines indicator, yes, then in the same transactions can be created with the two lines. One is positive and second one is negative lines. So in that case, that invoice can be approved by Tracy Allen. If it is only 2000 rupees or $2000 without having any credit lines, that can be also approved by Tracy Allen. So similarly, likewise, you can configure the based on the your business requirement. So transaction header level. So transaction level is, I mean to say transaction header. Transaction is nothing but when you create an invoice at the invoice header level, what is the invoice class? I mean transaction class is the invoice or credit memo. So we can select that here and business unit. Which business unit is it is we are going to using for that. So that is how we can configure the rule conditions on the header level. This is very simple thing here to be configured. So once we given the all the required information on the on the spreadsheet, and then go to instructions. If you work through the instructions sheet, you may understand a lot here the way how the Oracle has released these rules here. The one is will be auto approved for amount lesser than or equal to $1,000. Condition number two requires approval from fin user if the amount is greater than 1,000. This is the generically they had given the information. So, but based on your client requirement, it can be more than $1,000 or more than the way what you want to tracking the purpose. So here, wherever they mentioned as a fin user is nothing but as which we discussed here. This is the one approval routing. So, so here we need to select which one you want to go for, right? So ideally, you should have the auto approve and user based approvals. Okay. So once you configure all of these things and then go and click on generate rules. So this will be have the capabilities to generate a zip file with the all the information what we populated here. So once we done that, come here on the this setup manage user defined rules for receivables. So click on upload file and then pick the file which is from your local directory and upload into Phison application. So notice here 22 to 25, it means that yesterday I was loaded this file successfully without any issue. Username is FAS13 student. If you want to make any updation or like changes can be done, then we can download this latest file. Then we need to populate the or correct the data and re-upload the same file again. So this is how we need to create your approvals things. Next, transaction source. Transaction source. I already created one transaction source for me. So let me walk through that. So what are the fields that needs to be populated? 24D. Source is manual and name you can provide that which one you want to configure and activate from date which onwards this particular transaction source can be used. And numbering, automatic transaction numbering I have given as 1,000. And here on the screen, as per the your new feature, transaction control, right? Review and transaction controls. So transaction completion. So at what level you need to enable it, either user based or role based. Ideally, we have four scenarios here. We can choose two of them. At presently, they had given two. One is role based and user based. If it is user based, then the specific source of transactions can be reviewed by your approver as a user and approve the transactions. If it is role based, it will get automatic approved based on the your rule conditions. So that is all about on the transaction source information. Save and close. Now, transaction types. Since yesterday I already created transaction source for me and types also, let me take it out that to walk through now. 24D transaction type. So on the screen now we can see the header level and reference accounts level. So here notice it everything is common the way how we can configure the normal transaction types. But here only one thing is which you need to consider level of control of transaction completion. So we have three options over here. One is all lines with negative amounts and none. If it is said none, so this will be not applicable. If it is lines with negative amount only, then we can perform the same kind of activities while creating a transactions. And if it is selected as all, it will be applicable each and everything. say all, and then assign this particular transaction to, I mean to say transaction type to business unit, and provide all the required revenue receivable code combinations here. Save and close. Since already we discussed three configurations which are needed, now we'll perform test case. Prior to 24D release, this feature is not there. So now, prior to 24D release, so ideally when you create a transaction, once you click on save and complete and review, the status would be as a complete. Now it is a different situation where I will explain about that. Select transaction source and type which we already created, customer easy solutions. As part of the rule, what we configured, one line is positive, second line is negative, right? So I given as quantity is 10, unit price is 2000, and line number 2, I'm giving as a 5 quantity and minus 100 price. Yep. Notice here now 20,000. Save. So the total transaction amount is 21 to $55. Line value is $19,500. Tax value is so 17,555. So now this particular transaction, if you notice here, status is incomplete. So let's go and click on complete and review. So the moment when you go and click on complete and review, notice here at the line level under invoice detail, you will be getting one tab called as a approval history, and the status would be changed to pending approvals. So that is the new changes in the 24D onwards. Complete and review. Notice here approval history tab coming up here, and then status went to pending approval. So then if you want to review installments or if you want to review distributions, you can go and review them. Take this number 1003, which is coming from your transaction source, what we already kept as a auto number generating, right? So now just say cancel it here. Go to task panel, manage transactions, search with the today's date, and number is 1003. Click on search. So before that, if you want to see the status of this particular one on the dashboard, click on view tab, columns, scroll down. Approval status. Notice here, pending approval, pending approval. So click on hyperlink to see all the details. So now go to invoice approval. I mean to say approval history. Notice here submission date, submitted by whom and assigned to whom. So here it is assigned to Tracy Allen, right? Tracy Allen. So now log in as a approver to approve the transaction. So in order to withdraw before getting approval, we can withdraw from here. If you go and click on withdraw, automatically this transaction will be released from your approval notification. So notice it here, since it is a approval step, but there is no any notification will be triggered as like as a BPM. Just keep in mind. So that is not yet been developed by Oracle team now. It means you will be not getting any other notifications are the business users are like approver also will not be notifying any kind of notifications or alert also. So now, as being as an approver, they should log into approval I mean to say they need to log in as approver and go and check that. I will display the screen now again to look at that information. Log in as an approver. On the left hand side, we see there are info tiles. The second info tile called as a pending approver or pending approvers. That is the one we can notice it here to check that the particular one. Billing. See here in the left hand side, I log in as approver. I see there is a transaction approval. So now if you go and click on here, the info tile, 7 approval are pending. See here, 1003, right? There are multiple things also there. So now notice it the first one which all we created. Click on 1003 transaction number to review it further. If you go and click on approval history, see here, the same information again will be displaying on the screen. So now, so here there is no reject kind of tab that will be replaced with the rework. If you go and click on rework, automatically the meaning is it will be getting rejected by approver. So action same again and click on approve. Approved. Approve. So now the user, you can go back and log in as a again user and see that the transaction get got approved. Now notice again here transaction approval info tile. So it got reduced to 6 now because already we approved 1003 transaction. Now log in as a user again. So now notice after the invoice is getting approved by your approver, the invoice status will get automatically changed as a complete. Previously, when you save the record and click on completed review, automatically the changes, I mean to say the transaction status will be completed. But now after being implemented 24D, it is wait for you to approve the transaction and then it will change the status as a complete. Task panel, manage transaction, 1003, date is today's date. See here, after the invoice is getting approved, automatically it got changed to complete. So just notice one consider very important or significant point is when it is in progress or pending approval, the user will not make any changes on the invoice. Click on approval history. Notice here, submitted by FIS 13 student and final approver is Tracy Allen. Approval status is approved. So this is how we can use this new functionality in a real-time application as well as, right? So then you can perform the normal things what you need to perform as a send to GL or account in draft, whatever you want to, you can perform from here. So this is the user-based approval stuff. One is we set as a user-based and then second is auto approve. So auto approve is here what we seen. If it is less than $2,000, the system automatically will get approved. Let's test that also. Cancel. Home page. Billing. Create transaction. 24D, and here again 24D transaction type. Customer name is Easy Solutions. Test. $1,000. Save the record. Click on complete and review tab. See, it got automatically complete. But after we click on complete and review tab, which is this transaction source and type, notice it again here, approval history is coming up. Okay, so just go and click on approval history. Our second use case is nothing but as a auto approve of the transactions once you pass the entry. Click on approval history. Notice here status is approved. The action is automatic approve. So this is how we can perform these two different things, right? So the summary of this discussion is this is the one of the very good functionality if you are implementing to the any of the client who is passing the entries from the manual interface. I mean, it's manually or user interface. Why? Because this will be giving a lot of flexibility to your receivable managers to review all the manual transactions and then approve them. So it will be avoid any kind of duplicated or any kind of accounting entries not corrected or jail listings are not corrected. So those things can be eliminated at the time of you are approving the transactions. So that is all about this new feature. Thanks for watching my video. Please do subscribe and share and like. Thank you.